Ever wonder, like, what hobbies could actually help you out in the dating world?
That's a good question.
Well, today we're going to be diving into this 2024 study from DatePsychology.com. And they did some really cool research on how hobbies actually affect attractiveness.
Yeah.
It's
So
called
it's a cool site.
The Most and Least Attractive Male Hobbies, but it focuses specifically on what heterosexual women find appealing.
That's right. And you know what makes this study even more insightful is that they actually compare women's actual opinions
Oh, interesting.
with what men think women find attractive.
Okay.
So it's like this window into how perception and reality sometimes collide,
Uh-huh.
especially in the realm of dating,
Yeah.
when it comes to dating.
Yeah, and let me tell you, there are some big surprises in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Get ready to rethink some of those stereotypes.
Yeah,
Because this study really challenges a lot of those assumptions.
for sure.
Like, for instance, while video games are often considered like that stereotypical guy pastime,
Right,
the study shows they might not be the relationship deal breaker
right.
that everybody thinks they are.
Yeah, I was surprised by that one, too.
Yeah, we'll dig into that a little bit more later.
Yeah, funny.
But it's a great example of why it's important to look at the data and not just rely on assumptions.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get down to it. What did the study reveal as, like, the top hobbies that make men irresistible to women?
Well, yeah. The top 3 were traveling, playing a musical instrument, and speaking foreign languages.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like the modern-day Renaissance man,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say?
It really does paint a picture.
It does.
It's interesting to think about, like, why those hobbies would be so attractive.
Yeah,
Do you think there are, like, underlying qualities that they all signal?
absolutely. I
No,
think traveling suggests someone who is adventurous and open to new experiences,
Right.
someone who embraces different cultures.
Yeah,
And I think those are qualities that could be universally appealing
for sure.
to anyone, really.
And then playing a musical instrument requires, like, dedication and creativity.
Oh, yeah, tons of it.
So it hints at, like, a certain depth and passion that's definitely intriguing.
For sure.
And being multilingual just demonstrates intelligence and, like, a global perspective.
Right.
Plus, who doesn't love someone who can, like, whisper sweet nothings in another language?
It's always a plus.
All right, so those are the hobbies that women actually loved.
Yeah.
What about what men thought women would find attractive?
Okay.
Did they line up?
Well, interestingly enough,
Okay.
the study found that men were actually pretty accurate in their predictions,
Oh, wow.
especially for those top 3 hobbies.
Interesting.
It seems they have at least a decent grasp on what women find appealing.
That's good news for the guys out there.
Yeah.
Were there any areas, though, where they totally missed the mark?
Yeah, there were a few areas where men might have overestimated the appeal of certain activities,
Okay.
often associated with, like, masculinity,
Oh.
like, for instance, weightlifting and playing sports. Those were viewed as attractive, but not quite as highly as men anticipated.
Interesting. So maybe those bulging biceps aren't the ultimate key
Maybe not.
to a woman's heart. Seems like women are looking for a little bit more
Yeah, a little bit more.
than just physical strength.
Yeah, and it might be that, while those hobbies signal fitness, they don't necessarily convey the same depth or breadth of personality as some of those top contenders.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, now before we move on to the less desirable hobbies,
Yes.
this study also had some fun with the data and imagined the ideal man based on these top rankings.
They did.
What did they come up with?
Well, based on the results, the perfect man would be a bilingual traveling blacksmith who does archery gardens and reads.
Wow,
Quite a combination.
that's a lot.
It is.
I guess we could all strive for that level of well-roundedness.
We can try.
Now, on the flip side, what about the hobbies that women found the least attractive?
Okay.
What sent them running for the hills?
At the bottom of the list, we're watching manosphere videos, collecting comic books, and constantly arguing online.
Ouch.
Right.
Not exactly painting the picture of a great partner.
Not really.
What do you think it is about those hobbies that turn women off?
I think there could be a few factors at play here.
Okay.
For one, these hobbies may signal a lack of shared interests, which is important for connection and compatibility.
Yeah.
They might also hint at potentially negative personality traits or behaviors.
So constantly arguing online might not be the best way to showcase your charming personality.
Probably not the best strategy, no.
Yeah, it's important to remember that first impressions matter.
Absolutely.
And hobbies can offer a glimpse into our values and interests.
For sure.
That's a great point. And it highlights how our hobbies, even seemingly insignificant ones, can send powerful signals about who we are.
It's true.
But did men accurately predict these least attractive hobbies?
Hmm.
Were they as good at identifying the turn-offs as they were at the desirable ones?
For the most part, yes. Men were fairly accurate with a few interesting exceptions.
Okay, like what?
For instance, they overestimated how much women appreciate clubbing.
Oh, interesting.
Perhaps men see it as a more socially desirable activity than women actually do.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
It seems like there's so much to uncover here about how these perceptions differ.
definitely.
Now, we've explored the most and least attractive hobbies overall,
We have.
but I'm curious about those in-between categories.
Okay.
The study also delved into specific hobby types,
Yeah.
like nerd hobbies and athletic hobbies.
Right?
Right. I bet there are some surprises there, too.
Absolutely. There are some really intriguing findings within those categories.
Okay.
Are you ready to dive into those nuances?
Let's do it. I'm particularly curious about how nerd hobbies fared.
Oh, I.
I'm a bit of a nerd myself,
All right.
so I need to know if my passions are a help or a hindrance
We'll see.
in the dating world.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Well, you're in luck because one particular nerd hobby stood out as a big hit with the women.
Really? I wonder what it could be.
Want to take a guess?
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you. It turns out that reading was incredibly popular
Really?
among the women surveyed.
Oh,
So embrace those bookshelves.
I will.
Yes.
That's music to my ears.
Good.
I guess a love of literature signals intelligence and a curious mind,
Right.
which are definitely attractive.
Absolutely.
What about other nerdy pursuits?
Okay.
Did they share the same appeal?
Not quite.
Hmm.
Hobbies like collecting comic books or figurines
Okay.
did fare as well.
So maybe hold off on showcasing the Funko Pop collection
Yeah, maybe wait on that one.
on the first date.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of those often stereotyped hobbies, let's talk video games.
Okay.
Did they live up to their reputation as a relationship killer?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Well, the results were surprisingly mixed.
Okay.
While not universally loved,
Okay.
video games weren't the deal breaker many might expect.
Really?
Yeah, a significant portion of women actually found them attractive. That's really interesting.
Hmm.
It seems like maybe it's not the hobby itself,
Right.
but how it fits into someone's life.
Exactly.
Do you think the type of game or like the amount of time spent gaming could influence perceptions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The study didn't really get into those specifics, but
Yeah.
it's definitely something to consider.
Right.
Context always matters.
Of course.
A shared passion for a particular game could be a great way to bond,
Okay.
while excessive gaming might raise concerns about priorities and balance.
Yeah, you got to find that sweet spot.
Exactly.
Now let's shift gears to a category that's often associated with masculinity.
Okay.
Athletic hobbies. What did the study reveal about those?
Well, as you might expect,
Yeah.
activities that promote a healthy and active lifestyle were viewed favorably.
Okay.
In fact, swimming took the top spot in this category.
Oh, cool. I love swimming.
Me too.
It's a great way to stay in shape and have fun.
It is.
Were there any surprises in the athletic category, though?
There were a few.
Like what?
Fighting sports such as boxing and MMA ranked lower than you might anticipate.
That is surprising.
Yeah.
Maybe while demonstrating strength and discipline, they also hint at a level of aggression
Right.
that not everyone finds appealing.
It's possible.
Or maybe it's about those evolutionary instincts we talked about earlier.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
While fighting skills might traditionally suggest an ability to protect,
Right.
they could also signal a potential for conflict or harm.
Yeah, it's that complex interplay of nature and nurture
Exactly.
that shapes perceptions.
For sure.
So it seems like women are looking for a partner who embodies strength and sensitivity.
Right.
Someone who can be both protector and nurturer.
It's all about balance.
Now, moving from physical pursuits to creative outlets.
Yes.
How did artistic hobbies fare?
Artistic hobbies like playing music, painting, and photography were
Yeah.
consistently rated as highly attractive. So this seems creativity is a major turn-on.
I can see why expressing yourself through art requires passion, vulnerability, a unique perspective.
Absolutely.
Those are all great qualities.
Yeah,
And you usually end up with some beautiful creations,
that's true.
which is always a bonus.
Right?
Was there anything surprising in that category?
There's an interesting outlier.
Oh, what was that?
Cosplay.
Oh, really?
It received more negative ratings than other artistic hobbies.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
Perhaps its niche appeal and the potential for intense fandom might be a barrier for some.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good reminder that even within categories, individual preferences can vary widely.
For sure.
Now, I'm curious about this whole bad boy versus softer side dynamic.
Okay.
Did the study shed any light on how those stereotypes hold up?
It did.
Okay, what did it say?
Hobbies typically associated with the bad boy image,
Yeah.
like boxing, riding motorcycles, and even shooting guns,
Okay.
received more mixed reviews.
Interesting.
Some women found them alluring, while others were less enthusiastic.
So the idea that women are universally drawn to the tough guy
Right.
might not be totally accurate.
Not necessarily, no. It seems like a lot of women appreciate a partner with a softer side,
Mhm.
someone who exhibits kindness, empathy, a willingness to be vulnerable.
So it's about balance,
Exactly.
strength and sensitivity,
Mm.
passion and compassion.
Right.
Now, before we move on, I want to circle back to something the study highlighted that I think is really important.
Okay.
This whole idea of shared interests,
Yes.
really crucial
This is crucial.
for a relationship.
Despite some differences in specific hobby rankings, the overarching takeaway was that men were remarkably accurate in predicting what women find attractive,
Wow,
with an average accuracy of 88%.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
What do you think that says about how we perceive attractiveness?
It suggests that those fundamental qualities were drawn to intelligence, kindness, creativity, passion,
Yeah,
are often universally recognized regardless of gender.
interesting.
It seems we're more alike than we might think.
That's a nice thought.
Yeah.
But of course, individual preferences still play a role.
Absolutely. It's essential to find hobbies you genuinely enjoy,
Right.
but it's also worth considering activities that could lead to shared experiences and connections with potential partners.
Right.
Imagine bonding over a shared love of hiking, exploring a new city together, or even just cozying up with a good book.
Yeah, those shared moments can create a foundation for deeper connection.
For sure.
So as we wrap up this exploration of attractive hobbies, what's the key takeaway for our listeners? What do we want them to walk away with?
Yeah, it seems like we've uncovered a lot about how these hobbies can
Yeah.
influence attraction, but I think the most important takeaway is that it
It's true.
really gives you insights into who we are.
For sure.
Like, they reveal our passions, our values, and what we
Right.
find fulfilling.
Absolutely. And, it's not about pretending to have certain hobbies just to impress someone.
Right. It's about recognizing that the things we choose to spend our time on can send those signals about the kind of person we are and the kind of partner we might be.
Yeah, it's almost like hobbies act as like a window into our personality,
It is,
giving potential partners like a glimpse into our inner world.
for sure. And those glimpses can be really powerful, especially when you're seeking a connection with someone who shares your interests and values.
So it's not about like overhauling your entire life or forcing yourself into hobbies you hate
Right.
just to like fit some mold.
Exactly.
It's about embracing the activities that you enjoy
Yeah,
and recognizing how they contribute to a more well-rounded and fulfilling life.
absolutely. That's a great point. Authenticity is key,
Yeah,
but it's also worth being mindful of how our passions might be perceived
right.
and whether those perceptions align with the kind of connections we hope to build.
And before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
How might this knowledge about attractive hobbies influence your own choices, both for personal fulfillment and potential connections?
It's a great question to reflect on. Are there hobbies you've always wanted to try,
Yeah.
but maybe you hesitated for whatever reason, or maybe activities you've been neglecting that could bring you joy and potentially spark a connection with someone special?
Maybe this deep dive has inspired you to like dust off that old guitar or sign up for that cooking class
Yeah.
or finally book that trip you've been dreaming of.
It's all about exploring, growing, and discovering new facets of yourself, both for your own enrichment and for the potential to connect with others who share your passions.
And if you're eager to delve deeper into the specifics of this study,
Yes.
we encourage you to check out the complete research findings over at DatePsychology.com.
Great website.
They break down all the categories
Yeah.
and provide even more insights into how hobbies influence perceptions of attractiveness.
It's a treasure trove of information.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of attractive hobbies.
Yes, it does.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights into the signals we send, the connections we crave, and the power of shared interests in igniting attraction.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the things that make you and others tick.